Good evening, everyone. This is 𝗲𝗲𝗃𝗍𝗃, your health transformation coach. Welcome to the fifth episode in our HEAL series, Health, Energy, Awareness and Learning. Today we have a special guest and a celebrity chef, Natasha Celmi, and we are focusing on health, nutrition, and amazing gourmet food, which she's going to bring alive to us. Um, Today is special for me because I actually experienced what she has to offer with this crazy schedule that I've had through the lockdown, where I've actually not had the time to go to the kitchen and become a gourmet chef of my own, which I feel like every third person, every woman is starting to discover for herself. And what happened is I picked up her book and it took me 20 minutes to make two amazing Asian recipes, and I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed by what I could achieve just by the ingredients she chose, just how fast everything was to implement. So, thank you for bringing this to us, and thank you for coming on this show. I would love for you to start with telling us and defining what health means to you.
Hey, Vidhi, thanks for having me on your show. First of all, do you have a copy of my book to show everyone?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is
There-
fast, fresh, and flavorful.
That's fast, fresh, flavorful. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Taking my camera the other way around. Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha, and thanks for joining in. So, right, what are we talking about? I think a lot of you know me as Cucina Mia by Natasha. That's my website and my Instagram. And I'm here to talk about cooking food fast, fresh, and flavorful. You can eat healthy and you can eat fancy. Yeah. So on to, and that's what I'm here to teach you and help you, and that's what my book does as well. So what does health mean to me? Now I'm a chef, so health, I do believe in eating good food, but I do believe in eating local ingredients which are locally grown, fresh. So I'm not
Absolutely.
into the packaged stuff. I minimalize all your packaged ingredients and stuff which have preservatives and all that. I do believe health is also overall, so exercise for sure. So eat well, eat good, and that affects your mental health. Exercise, people come to me, oh, I want to lose weight, and I'm like, yeah, but eat well and go and exercise. You don't want to
Yeah.
exercise. And mental well-being. So you got to do what you enjoy. That as well. So I think it's
Absolutely.
overall mind, body, soul, everything. So that's what health is for me.
Amazing, amazing. So you're actually adding to that because when I work as a health coach, sometimes these kind of resources that you're providing really, really help bring food alive. Because then whenever we take an ingredient out or we say, okay, don't eat meat or don't have gluten or don't have dairy, and
Yeah.
you provide these options of, okay, how can we do that in a way that
Eat
makes food completely flavorful?
eat whatever you
Absolutely.
want. Life is short, enjoy it. But yeah, if there's something that is overly indulgent, have it in small quantities because you do have one
Absolutely.
life. So you are not one of those extreme who says, these crazy diets and these crazy things of avoiding everything.
Right.
I do believe in eating how our ancestors ate, honestly.
Yes.
And they ate a bit of everything,
Yeah.
दूध पी सब्जी पी जिसको वेज खाना है वेज जिसको नॉन वेज खाना है नॉन वेज
Yeah. Yeah.
and so and they lived healthy lives and they lived till their 90s,
I
and
think
they
what you touched
exercised.
on is really important in terms of lifestyle. That movement is important. Having a variety of small quantities of everything is important, and then
and
getting into also really enjoying it.
and no unnecessary stress. I think people are too stressed about this food and their kids and their life these days. Just relax.
Absolutely. So I'm actually inspired by what you've done here and the fact that you made it really fast for people like me who are working and we still want to bring something to our families, to our children. And the real USP is that not only is it about fresh, but it's about timely, fast time management. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to get into this space of writing this book and offering to people out there.
Okay, so I'm a mom of two boys, 4
Yeah.
and 6. And I'm a very hands-on mom, so you can imagine I'm with them in their school matters, I'm with them in the football field. Plus I'm working full time. I wrote a book right now in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So the need to cooking is not something where you need to be in the kitchen all day. I cook our meals myself. All meals I
Right.
cook myself.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have, anyone in the kitchen, because nobody can cook the food the way I want it to taste.
Right.
So but basically cooking is not a chore. It's something to be enjoyed. At the same
Yes.
time, you have to be smart about it and not be sitting in the kitchen all day, because we all have things to do. There's lots of
Right.
things to be done.
Right.
So that's where the Meet came, to help people out. And I figured out lots of ways of, you don't have to stress, yet you can eat fresh. So on the weekends, I make a lot of sauces and pastes, as you've read in the book.
Yes.
I've given you a planning guide. I'll stock up. I make extra of, say, today's meal, and I'll have it for lunch tomorrow. A salad becomes a sandwich. A soup becomes a pasta sauce.
Right.
So you have to be cooking all the time, and yet you're eating fresh food.
Absolutely.
So that's what brought about the need, where a busy lifestyle, yet you can do it all if you really want to do it all.
So I experienced that. That was really, really quick, and the flavors were amazing. And we had something on the table for everyone when I made 3 different dishes. And that was what was amazing.
What did you make?
I made the Asian, the 𝗙𝗵𝗃 cauliflower, which also had the chicken option. And then I made the pak choy. And that was very interesting, because I would like you to elaborate on what you've... okay, great. Yeah. You've done something very interesting that most people don't realize. And when I'm working on health, I do recommend using a lot of nuts and seeds. And you've incorporated that in these 2 recipes that I mentioned. And it was very easy to translate from what you've written to reality with simple Indian home ingredients. So I really want you to tell me, how you went about thinking incorporating nuts and seeds, because that's something people don't think of, and it's really quick, really filling, and lots of natural protein, especially ones that don't cause too many allergies, the cashews and the almonds.
Yes, I love adding nuts and seeds, fresh herbs. So for me, a meal should be a balanced nutrition, and wherever you can add, you just add things in. So yeah, nuts and seeds, herbs, and I add a lot of millets. I add grains. When I do a salad, I add in some grains to make it a complete meal. So healthy carbs going in.
Absolutely.
And that's how I plan my meals, where I make sure there's every food category is covered. And that's the best way. So even if it's a chicken dish or it's a vegetarian dish, you basically make sure you eat the rainbow, as they say. You should have a colorful plate. So you eat the rainbow.
Very, very vibrant, rainbow colors in the diet. And we're getting a question here from Preeti, and she says, "Is it a vegetarian book?" I do see that you have options there.
The book, it says vibrant vegetarian. But for every dish, so if you're vegetarian, you're sorted with the book. If you're not, for every dish, I have given a variation. That's why you made the chicken, right? You made the 𝗙𝗃𝗃 chicken, you said.
So I made the cauliflower. My mom-in-law made the chicken part of it. So we had both.
Yeah. So every dish has a meaty variation. As I said, I'm not here to impose any diet or any, on anyone. So there's something for everyone. So it's actually vegetarian. If you're vegetarian, this book is just what you need. It's on Amazon. You can just look up Fast, Fresh, Flavorful. I'll put the link later. And if you're not, there's a meaty variation for every recipe you can enjoy.
Right. Thanks for that. Now, what I want to bring forth is that, yes, we have one life and we want to eat a little bit of everything. But I do work with people who have lifestyle diseases, and we do have to tweak it a little bit then. That, okay, these are some food groups that you don't have to eat. And what was really interesting is that you did have some dairy-free dishes. You did have some naturally gluten-free dishes, and a lot of different variation, I would say, in every single cuisine, where we could cater to specialized diets. Even though we want to make everyone enjoy everything, that was great on how you brought that alive. So can you share 1 or 2 things, that people can actually quickly stock up, keep it fresh? Like you said, some things in the freezer, which is still fresher than, buying the preserved stuff from the market. So can you share 1 or 2 things with us?
So I make my own with the Italian tomato sauce. I make a big batch of the Italian tomato sauce, which doubles up as pizza sauce, a pasta sauce, a Mexican sauce. I'll get like one day I'll just do 2 kgs of tomatoes. That's where I use up my time. Smart cooking. You don't sit and cook small quantities. Make 2 kgs. Use what you need. Put the rest in the freezer. Breads, pizza bases. Just keep them stocked in the freezer. Nuts, nuts, they go rancid. Keep them in the freezer.
Right.
So even fresh veggies, you got to store them properly. Those are the ways you can make a lot of sauces ahead. So I'll make a Thai green curry, a red curry paste on the weekend, and store it in a jar for the week.
Right.
So lots of sauce. I do a lot of homemade sauces. It's all there in the book. My Sriracha sauce. You got to try the Sriracha sauce. That's there as well. Pesto.
Yeah.
So there's lots of these things where you can save time, stock up a bit, and it's still fresh. And have it in the next 3 or 5 days, or freeze it.
So there's something that was interesting, which was called the sesame bark. And I kind of tried that because that's not something I'd ever tried. We use almond powder in soups. And the sesame bark was interesting because it kind of complemented flavor. So tell me where you got inspired to do that, because that was very, very different. I mean, I'm sure it's out there because you're a chef, but for a layman, that was new.
So greens can be very boring. It's Asian greens. Let me see if I can get the picture. It's a dish on, can you see?
Bring it a little bit more in. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
It's Asian. So it's bok choy, broccoli, beans. So how do you make that interesting? So so I just thought about it. I just, figured it out. It needed a sweet thing. It needed crunch. So I'm very into texture. My food I create, I think texture, it's like a party in your mouth. You need to, as you talked earlier, you need to touch the taste buds. Yeah?
Yes.
You can tell me about how it triggers the hormones. So I think I did have triggered a lot of hormones.
Absolutely. So it's interesting you say that, because when I tasted that was a completely different flavor, because there was like a regular bland flavor with the little soy in the vegetables and slight bitterness there. And then we had this crunchy sesame almond bark with the honey flavor, with the almond flavor, with the sesame flavor, all rolled in together, and the crunch, because we oven roasted it. And I was like, okay, what's going on? So I made my kids try it as well. But they're like, this is really interesting. This is a really good mix. Everything is happening in our mouth, like you said, a party in the mouth. And it kind of brought,
and it was also
absolutely. So it kind of brought me back to this idea that I'm always communicating, which is about the most efficient way in a meal to design and curate a meal where you can actually activate all 6 taste buds. And I would say that one dish with maybe an egg fried rice or a millet noodle would do all of those 6 taste bud activation, which basically means now you feel fulfilled and you don't need to reach out for that chocolate, or you don't need to reach out for that ice cream extra. It's not a necessity anymore because the job is done. You're mentally, physically, tastefully satisfied.
So that is a really good dish, but that is what we chefs strive to achieve. That's why now we're adding salt in desserts as well. There's salt being added to desserts. So again, it's triggering the taste buds and creating the satisfaction. You add fruits to salads. You must add fruits to your salads. A savory salad, add in the mango. I think this amazing mango salsa that's in the book. Which is sweet with the savory and the chili. So that's what it is. You can be.
It's interesting when you said. It's interesting when you say salt and dessert, because this meal that we just talked about, it had the sweet dessert feel for a second. It had the salty feel, and then all the taste buds that go on the side. So your sour, your bitter, your pungent, your astringent through the vegetables. So you chose the broccoli, you chose the beans, you chose the pak choy, and then comes the almonds and the fat in that. So that whole layer growing right from the tip of your tongue to the back, that entire gamut was covered. And then we also have sweet again reinforced with the rice. So this whole taste buds is something people don't think of. They're like sweet, salty, sour. We stay with these 3 and then spicy. we don't actually think of all six. So this is amazingly dealt with in your book, and it actually demystifies a lot of things that I have to give to many of my clients when I'm saying, okay, cook a meal with all six, and they're like, how do we do this?
Talk more. I didn't actually think about it in so much detail. I'm learning a lot from you today. I need to next.
No, I learned a lot looking at your book actually, because this is a question I had, because I don't, I kind of whip up things in the kitchen, whatever's fast and whatever's easy. And it really enlightens me when I can do this, taste it and see that, okay, everything's working in my mouth. Now this goes and translates to my family and then to my clients. So it's beautiful in that way how it unfolds. And I think we mentioned earlier that, okay, you're a mom of, beautiful children. And that's one of the things that always intrigues me. And how do we get kids to like vegetables? How do we get children to have flavorful food, different kind of flavors? And how do we actually bring their interest and attention and discipline when it comes to food? So you can share your thoughts as a mom, and I think you've seen many other mothers who struggle through this. So, enlighten us on that and share a few tips.
Okay, so one is, of course, everything. So you can, so I do a lot of sauces. I do sauce, a red sauce, and an orange. Okay. So the green sauce will have broccoli and spinach. That's there in the broccoli sauce, and then add some milk and cheese. And my kids love it. They call it the green sauce. Then you add pasta, or you add barley, or you add rice, or you add millets. The same thing, I do a pumpkin version. If you see the pumpkin risotto in the book, try that for your kids. That's the orange sauce. So pumpkin, carrot, or pumpkin and tomato. Now, in any of these sauces, and then you do the red sauce with tomato, of course. In any of these, you can blend in the protein. So either cooked minced chicken, or tofu, or paneer.
Right.
You can blend that in, and you've got the protein aspect. Yeah. Then
and a lot of that.
Sorry.
I said a lot of that lends itself to also, people who are going vegan, gluten-free in their homes. It actually lends itself to the nuts and the seeds as well, like the powdered nuts and the seeds. If we're not into any of the soy or the milk or the meat, then we can actually do that, because all of your recipes lend themselves to that.
Yes. And then I do tikkies, my burgers. You got to try the burgers. I've actually put dal into them. There's a sweet potato and dal burger. There's a rajma burger. And my kids love it. There's a chickpea falafels, a beetroot chickpea falafels. They look amazing. They're colorful. So what I would say for kids, this one here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Especially the younger ones, they're very excited with the color. Yeah.
So my kids, my little one, as you said, the younger ones, I think you've got to play on the psychology of children a bit also. So, and today's kids, I don't know how much of dal roti they want every day. So you can put the same dal and the same beef, the same palak into little more interesting stuff they would eat if they go to a restaurant or a birthday party or something.
Yeah.
So I do these beetroot tikki. I do hummus. There's lots of hummus recipes. I've added a vegetable. It's purple hummus with beetroot. There's an orange hummus with carrot. And hummus has chickpeas, chana. So good protein.
Absolutely.
So I think you want to play on the side of children. What we also do in our house is we involve the kids in the at least the finishing process of the food. So if there's broccoli or carrot, it's a colorful plate. We involve them in adding some lemon or adding some salt or adding some olive oil. Pizza, we do a pizza. They assemble their own pizza. So involve your kids. Talk to them what they're eating. What is it called? The broccoli sometimes becomes trees and the tree flowers and stuff.
Yes.
So one kid likes them and one kid likes the flower. I think it's a lot of psychology involved. And that same, I remember I grew up in obviously an Indian home having Indian food every day. But if you're going to give today's kids same dal and aloo ki sabzi and aloo gobi, come on. Even we don't need that. Why would the kids do that?
I think the clue also lies in the fact that, when you and I grew up, we didn't have television options, we didn't have laptops, we didn't have phones. There was no exposure, there was hardly any visuals. Today, I think
Love that.
even an average 2-year-old has had far more exposure in their 2 years of their lives than we have probably accumulated. So the visual is
Exactly.
extremely important, and I think you've done that and you've observed that and been able to translate that through what you're talking about and what you've experimented with.
So things like noodles, and if you just cut the veggies really bright and nice, and you know talk about colors, do like rainbow colors. So there's a rainbow barley in my book. You know, try that for your kids, and you call it rainbow colored rice or something.
Right.
It'll work. But you got
I
to
think
spend
your
time
book
and talk to.
I think your book and what you've talked about so far makes me feel like we could almost do like an entire Montessori learning just with your food, because everything from shapes to colors to, talking about vegetables and what they are, flavors and tastes in our mouth, and even
Yes.
probably spellings as they are eating this and learning that. Really, really fulfilling the senses. Now, we talked about the taste buds, that's one aspect. But when we're looking at fast, fresh, flavorful food, we're also talking about the visual sense, which goes from childhood to even geriatric health, which is something I observed that at this space where we are with the lockdown, everyone's thinking about food. Everyone's thinking about, okay, what next to eat, when next to eat. This is so boring. We can't get food from outside. And when we can offer them these solutions, what happens is, again, you have this whole rush of serotonin, a rush of dopamine when food comes in and the social activity around it comes in, and when it seems exciting, when you don't have that whole Indian sort of regular food every single day, and you can actually add this twist. So that really adds to the whole family health.
And I would tell people to involve family members, involve your husband, involve your kids in the cooking process. This is something I learned. My husband's Italian, and I learned this from the Italians in their culture. Cooking is a celebration. It's a family celebration. It's not the woman's job, or it's, And while you're cooking, you're drinking your wine, and you're listening to music, and you're chit-chatting. And you sit down and eat it. And it's a celebration. Trust me, I didn't know how to cook 7-8 years ago. I only learned to cook 7-8 years ago. So, yes.
I think that's inspiring. So you're not saying that you grew up loving the kitchen and loving to cook. You learned this, and I think that's impressive that you came into this, found your own, and
I never lifted a finger. I'm from Calcutta. I came from one of those homes where I never lifted a finger, never needed, till I was 25, 26. And then I realized I was bored of food. I wanted to eat good food, and I was at Mamma Mia. I was going to Italy those days to make gelato and learn to make gelato.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I was, and then I started eating good food, and I started seeing what a celebration food was. Italians, they'll talk about where the ingredient came from. They're very into seasonal, by the way. That's another thing. Eat seasonal and eat local. So Italians will never eat something from other region. What is the specialty? What is locally grown within a certain radius? And what is in season?
Yeah.
So that's
I think that's an important point. Yeah. It's a very important point, and I'm happy you brought that, because on another note, I want to highlight that right now, with everyone wanting to boost their immunity and talking about health in that, they're forgetting that a lot of herbal kadhas they want to make and a lot of herbal things they want to incorporate are not seasonal. So I keep telling them that if you have good health, you eat a balanced meal, you don't need these things. But it's kind of trending that, oh, this is healthy and this is high immunity, let's have it. And I'm glad you focus that it has to be seasonal, it has to be local. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So that's absolutely true.
Somebody from the south of India, should be eating whatever is locally the local vegetable or the local fish or whatever. And that's why, if you go to Delhi, you eat more of meat or whatever the sabzi. That's how traditionally it was. Things did not move all over the place. You always, if you're from Rajasthan, you eat vajo banta hai.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how ancestors ate.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is that you've kind of got this whole globalization phenomena in your book, where you're like, okay, let's eat everything that's varied. Let's eat how our ancestors ate, but also have a little bit of global cuisine so that we can have that fun and that change and that flavor coming in.
I make barley. I make risotto with barley now. Barley is jaw, which is an old
Yes.
ancient
So you've given
grape.
it that fun twist. Yeah.
You see, there's no fancy arborio rice. You just travel the whole world full of preservatives. If you're in India, use Indian ingredients with the same flavors.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. I think that's why millets have come back so big, because they are what our ancestors ate in different regions, different millets.
Yes.
And I think we can even lend that to the risotto recipe. For example, like you've used jaw, we could even use a barnyard or a foxtail or any of those millet rices, and they would work based on the region, and they can be beautifully adapted.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think we've talked about taste buds and our hormones secreting, looking at all your recipes, and how a child's five senses can really be enamored, how a family can come together in a discipline and a celebration all together. Having those two, extreme things, discipline and celebration coming together, is a beautiful idea you've shared with us. And I think the dinner table becoming a learning tool for a child is the most beautiful thing you've given us today. So I think Fast Flesh Flavorful does that for us.
And I would also say, try and eat the same food with your child. So you can take out a portion and add your mirchi and masala in it. But, then there's a certain connection in a family meal. And so in my book, what I teach is, how the same dish can be adjusted for kids and for adults both. So you don't have to cook twice. And
also the old saying, right? Monkeys see and monkeys do. So basically, if I'm doing something and my little one is seeing that, okay, she's eating something different, then why shouldn't I eat what my mommy is eating? So absolutely what you're saying is spot on. When mothers come to me and say fussy, I say because you're eating something different and not offering it to your child. So they feel totally left out.
Yeah. So now they'll feel like they've grown up and they're eating the same thing that you're eating, and it's grown up food. Give them proper cutlery and proper. My kids don't eat in those children's. They eat in a proper plate with proper cutlery. And they feel cool about it. It's cool. So.
And I think as a health coach and a child nutrition counselor, I can say that almost every single recipe in your book can start catering to a 1-year-old to a 95-year-old without an exception, without a doubt. I mean, that's the gamut of what this offering covers. So that's absolutely excellent, and it's enamoring. So that's great. Thank you for sharing this. Great. So I think we've learned a lot, and I'm ready to celebrate with my family, and you are ready to celebrate with your family on a Sunday. So thank you for coming here and sharing this with us. And we're hoping to work maybe in the next couple of months in bringing some of these recipes alive with you, so that people can actually see how quick it is. Today, it's just a taste and an idea of how we can do this. And let's kind of translate this for all our viewers in the near future.
Sure. Do you want to show them the book once again? So guys, if you want to get the book, hold on, it's Fast Fresh Flavorful, available on Amazon. And get your copy soon, because we also have, Vidhi, by the way, we have free Cook the Book workshops happening every month.
Oh, wonderful.
So you can join, where I give you practical demo every time. It's a different topic, because there's only so much a book can say. So if I give you a practical demo dishes,
I think it'll come even more alive to all of us. Yeah, absolutely. Although you have done an amazing job of explaining this here, so you've made it pretty foolproof for even me when I don't have those more than 20 minutes. So that's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. We look forward to being a part of your workshops, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Vidhi. Thanks for having me. Goodbye, folks.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for being on our show today.